All right, welcome back. This is Fabio Spinella of My Own Defender. This is a follow-up video on the appendix carry module, if you will. The first video was about the kit associated with the appendix carry. We talked about specifically the belt that you might want to use. Go check that video out. We talked about the clips you might want to use. We talked about the wing that would make a lot of sense, that would allow you to carry well, and some kind of wedge or cushion system underneath to both make it more comfortable and to tuck the gun into your body to make it more concealable, less printing, if you will. So if you haven't watched that video, do go back, because it's probably the more important part, because people will get stuck on the comfortability of it or being able to conceal very well. Those are the things that will allow you to do both of those things better, so do go watch that video. On this video, I specifically want to talk about how to just draw and practice when you go to the range, or if you do Dryfire. Again, if you're not on my Dryfire program, myoWndefender.com, at the top there will be a tab that says Dryfire. Sign up for that program for pennies a day. You're going to have very specific drills that you might want to do to get better at drawing, better at transitioning, better at grip, better at all things shooting without having to actually shoot your gun. I am telling you, it's changing tons and tons of people's lives, so go check that out. But Dryfire is a big deal, and it's super helpful for anybody that's interested in getting better at their gun manipulations and shooting in general. All right, so today I'm going to give you just a snippet, a little chunk of how to draw from the appendix position safely. I'm not going to talk about all the many different hand positions, but I will mention them really quickly. You should be able to draw from your appendix position from any hand position, right? If you're just kind of hanging out, hands in pockets, you know, or arms folded, you're just kind of hanging out, or, you know, like you're at the back of the church, you're doing the thing, you're just watching people, you should be able to draw from here. Or if you're in an engagement with somebody, you know, if you're hands-on with somebody, or maybe just, hey man, I don't want any problems, maybe you're making space. Again, I'll let Byron and the rest of the team talk about, you know, defensive tactics and whatnot. But if you're having to come from like, hey, I don't want any problems, you should still be able to draw very aggressively from the appendix position. You go from, hey man, like you can block, you can strike, you can, you know, shoot, take it to a takedown, and you ought to be able to draw and take care of the problem if the problem will not stop and you still have a problem. All right, so how do we draw efficiently and safely from the appendix position is the little bit of information I'm going to give you today on this video. I have seen all sorts of craziness associated with drawing from the appendix position. People grabbing like the bottom of the garment, scooping all the way up, and then like putting their shirt all the way up to their shoulder, and like it looks like something like this, and then they go draw and whatever, and now their hand is having to come up from out here all the way to back down below the gun to grab it. Very inefficient, and you're doing so much work, creating so much tension in your body. It's completely wasteful. All right, so how do we do it more efficiently? Your support hand, whichever your support hand is, the one that doesn't do the shooting bits, is going to go for belly button in the midsection of your body. Notice I am not going east and west, but I'm going north and south at my belly button. If I just close my hand, you probably start seeing a little bit of the gun. I haven't even moved my garment up, but just the technique of midsection, closing the hand. Again, I'm guessing here, this is the longer shirt, like I said earlier in my video. Yeah, there it is. I don't normally carry a shirt that's 3 inches below my belt line, but this is the shirt that I have today, so this is the shirt that we're using. You can see the shirt, you can see the gun already, yeah? So if I then just take it to my sternum being where I clap my hands, where my ribs meet, all stuff. So if I go grab, close my hand, go to the sternum, the entire gun is clear. I don't need to go any further than that to be successful and efficient at drawing. Anything above that is wasted energy, wasted motion, which creates inefficiencies, and efficiencies result in slower times and all that stuff, right? So again, midsection, closing the hand, going to the sternum, then going to the gun. Now, if you would just start with that, just grabbing your shirt over and over again, just grabbing the shirt over and over again, just getting used to what that feels like and being able to do it very aggressively from all sorts of hand positions, right? No problem, boom, or I'm hanging out, boom, or Maybe I'm just like, at the park, oh shoot, something's going on, right? And I'm just going here. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be all the way up here where I'm like almost choking myself and wasting all this extra time, all this extra energy. It's not necessary. And yet tons and tons of people will do that. Just beware of who you're getting your information from. If I need to, as a civilian, if I need to get my gun out, it's probably really darn important that I get it out right now, because I am not law enforcement. I'm not doing it for my job. I'm not having to hold anybody down. If I am presenting my gun, I've already made the decision that this is a life-threatening scenario, right? So I'll let somebody else again cover, lethal force and all that stuff. But again, as a civilian, if I'm going to take my gun out, something really bad is happening and I need to get the gun out yesterday. All right, so north and south, close the hand, go to the sternum. Where the ribs meet, where you clap, that's plenty. If you're going above your breast line, your nipple line, I don't know how else to say, you're going way too far. If you can feel your collarbone, you're going way too far. If you don't know how high you're going, put your phone in front of you, turn the video on, and just video yourself doing a couple of these draws, and you'll learn a lot from that. I am in my Dryfire studio. My gun is absolutely safe. There's no ammunition in there, and there's nothing in the barrel. Like, you must, if you're going to be practicing along with me or testing this stuff out, you must 100% be responsible for your own use of your firearm. Please clear all your guns. There should be no ammunition in your Dryfire space. If you've never done Dryfire and you've only, played with live guns or whatever, I'm telling you, if you're going to do anything alongside me as you're trying to practice this stuff, make sure that your gun is completely unloaded. There's nothing in the chamber. There is no ammunition in your magazine. Maybe there's no whatever makes you the most safe, that's the way to do it. And then get on a Dryfire program like mine that gives you all the ways how to practice more meaningfully. I just wanted to say that ahead of time and make sure you don't have any accidents inside your home, all right? So, shirt, north and south. Where do we go from there? Once you've grabbed the shirt's like in the right place, you're gonna get your dominant hand, you're gonna dive down into the gun. I am not talking about placing the gun into my body. I'm not placing my hand into the gun and then lifting. I am diving down north and south into the gun and bouncing the gun out. Just like you would bounce a basketball. When you go bounce the gun out, you're going to essentially try to press the gun down for like a millisecond, very quickly, and the gun is going to find resistance against the Kydex holster. Another reason why we have nice, good, sturdy holsters and nice, sturdy belts. That resistance allows the gun to pop out, bounce out, whatever you want to call it, and gives you some energy back to get the gun out quickly. I have a very aggressive, very quick draw. A lot of the guys that practice alongside me learn how to draw this way. I encourage you to practice this methodically until you're able to do it with the same technique. It's not going to be a matter of effort, trying harder, or getting more tense. It will be absolutely about the technique. North and south, bouncing the gun out. Yeah. How do I grab the gun inside my holster? Notice that my thumb is going to be over the sights, not as a full firing grip. So if you've had other classes where people tell you, hey man, full firing grip inside the holster, no sir, no ma'am. Thumb over sights, and then thumb over sights. Even on the inside of the sights, okay. Over the sights completely is okay. This is not okay, because this will create friction against your body, right? If I go grab my gun in a full firing grip, I am now scraping my thumb inside, right? And then I have to scrape it all the way up. All that friction is wasting time. Then what happens to make, I'm not going to talk about grip a whole bunch, but what happens for me to make my grip? I'm going to have to remove the thumb to build my grip and then to put it back. The more things I have to do, the more time I'm wasting. If I grab my gun from thumb over sights, when I go build my grip, all I have to do is drop my thumb on the other side of the slide, and I'm going to be in a good place. All right. So that's how we're going to grab the gun, north and south to the sternum, bouncing the gun out. As soon as I have cleared Kydex, which is the holster and body parts, the gun starts rotating forward, and I let go of my shirt. I don't have to throw it down. I don't have to do anything crazy. I just let go of my shirt, start reaching for the gun. For me, the way I develop my grip, index finger of the support hand goes into the middle finger of the dominant hand. I form my grip, and I bring the gun up to my eye line, wherever it is that I'm looking, that I'm trying to shoot, whatever my target might be. All right, that's as condensed as I can give you, without bringing you into a bunch of other topics: how to use your vision, how to build your grip, how to, trigger control, all that stuff. So much content I would love to give you. My portion is just how to give you a little bit of the appendix carry, how to draw from that, what kind of kit you need, how to get better at carrying every single day without being uncomfortable or whatever. Like, what's the best gun to carry? The one that you will practice and carry with. Hard stop, right? People are like, oh, it's this gun. It's like, they get all about the gear, but then they forget, like, well, yeah, but the gun is too small. It's uncomfortable to shoot. So they don't. Or it's way too big. It imprints all the time, so they don't. You got to find a gun that fits you. In general, go to the larger side because it's more fun to shoot. And if you have the right kit, it's very concealable. And then practicing to make sure that you're confident that you can do it. You're not scared to do it, all that stuff. I will give you just a quick review, and then I'm going to give you a reholstering process so that I know that you can reholster the gun safely. All right. So wherever your hand position is, the support hand is going to go north and south at the belly button. You're going to scrunch the shirt up. You're going to go to the sternum. You're going to go dive down to the gun all at the same time. It's not one and the other. It's boom. So in slow motion, one more time. Boom. And out. I'll do it from the side so you can see it from the side. Notice my head is not moving. My shoulders are not moving. This is essentially as demonstrative as I can do it. You should be able to hear the noise that my holster is making when I bounce the gun out. That is absolutely part of the technique to bounce the gun out of the holster. All right. So north and south, thumb over sights. Then maybe at some other point we'll talk about grip. Probably somebody else will talk about that, and maybe it is me. And if so, I'll do a video on grip and on vision and on trigger. All right. And if that's me, check out that module. Not too sure yet. So bouncing the gun out, getting the grip that you want, using the vision on a specific spot that you're trying to shoot, and then the trigger control required to get that shot to happen. All right. How do we reholster? Let's say we got the gun out, blah, 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 blah. We have finished our drill. We're practicing. We're finished practicing. God forbid this is real life and you have to reholster, right? Whatever. There should be a very safe way to reholster. This is what I do not want. And unfortunately, I see all the time. People will like muzzle themselves. They'll put the gun towards their body and then put it in the holster. That is not the way to do it, right? Let's see the holster, like in, like that. I'm not even gonna do it with a completely safe gun because it's gross. I don't know why people do that. For me, having done thousands of hours of dry fire, and man, I don't even know how much live fire rounds, I just grab my shirt and I put my gun down. I have that like very methodically. I've done that so many times, methodically, carefully. It's like part of my body. It's become very, very natural, very normal for me. And if anything feels different, awkward, tense, it's an immediate abort. Like if I get in there and there's like a little bit of shirt and I feel that, oh, no way, right? So your number one priority when you come down from your shooting sequence or whatever, you're gonna grab your shirt the same way, clear it. If you've not done this a million times, you would look into the holster, make sure there's nothing in there, and look your gun safely into the holster. That should be your routine for years. I mean it. It should be like hundreds and hundreds of hours where you do that. And I remember doing that hundreds and hundreds of hours. Eventually, it started to take a toll on my practice sessions because it was taking me so long to do all that. And I started removing some of those things. But I am telling you, if anything feels like a hair different than my usual reholstering or my usual whatever with my gun, I know immediately because of the sheer time I've put in on my craft. All right. So I encourage you, once the gun is out, your process should be like, I am done shooting. Whether it's whatever the reason you were shooting, you're done. There's no reason for your gun to ever go back to the holster unless you are for sure done. There's nothing else to do. All right, in which case I know I need to reholster. I know that there's nothing else to do with my gun out. There's no reason for me to rush this process back. I need to be 100% safe. I'm gonna grab my shirt, put it back to where it belongs. I'm gonna look into my holster. I may even stick depending on your shape and size of your body, you may need to stick your hips out a little bit to make sure that you are going away from your body as you reholster. One good way to do that is to have the thumb on the inside of the gun and scraping the thumb against your body, because that keeps the muzzle away from your body parts. This is absolutely unacceptable. So again, sticking your hips out and making sure that the gun is safe. If you feel any kind of like weirdness, like maybe extra tension, or if it feels like it's stiff or stuck, absolutely abort your reholstering process. Take the gun out, make sure there's nothing in the holster. Sometimes you could have a piece of shirt, piece of garment, I don't know, a piece of, if you're on a firing lane with a bunch of other people, maybe a piece of brass fell in there. The last thing you want to do is force the gun in there and have the trigger get affected by that, and then the gun goes off in your pants, right? So I just want to make sure everybody understands reholstering is arguably the most important part as far as safety goes, because that's where people will have problems if they're going to have a problem. I will say this, statistically speaking, people have had way more problems reholstering in their 4 or 5 o'clock, shooting their buttocks and their legs and other people. Why? Because you can't see anything back there. And a lot of times the people that will carry back there will have collapsible holsters, leather holsters, nylon holsters. They'll go in there and they'll start searching with their muzzle for the opening of it, and then they just kind of slam it in there. And it's really easy to get garment caught in there, and shirt and pants and pieces of holster, especially if the holster is flimsy. They'll catch a piece of holster in there and wham, right? And so avoid like not being able to see where it is you're putting your gun, right? So for most people, your reholstering process should be 100% sticking the hips out, looking the gun into the holster, and never at any point muzzling yourself. And then there will be those people that have resistance, and this is the last bit about appendix carry. Those few people that are like super ignorant and have resistance about, well, appendix carry, you're muzzling yourself the whole time. Okay, let me explain to you how guns go off. You have to press the go button. You have to press the trigger. When you put your gun in a reliable, quality, hard plastic holster, there's nothing touching the trigger ever. It's impossible for anything to be in there while the gun is in your pants. Now, putting the gun back into your pants, that transition period, that can be dangerous if you don't do it carefully, methodically, and with purpose, like having a specific way in which you do it. If you just kind of throw it in there, well, yeah, you can have a problem no matter what. If you act dumb with the gun, dumb things will happen. If you act safely and you do it methodically because you understand how it works, then you're gonna be all right. So once the gun is in there, there's literally no way to affect that trigger. There's nothing that can touch it. All right, so yes, the gun is pointing down, currently not actually muzzling anything. But if I were to sit down, I guess, yeah, there would be some kind of like muzzle towards me, but it's literally impossible for the trigger to go off if I have a good holster and I have a gun that works properly. So I have been carrying for years. I carry every single day. I know people that have been carrying for decades and carry every single day, never having an issue. It is the shooter, not the gun, that is the problem. So do this in this manner, properly, safely, and you will be all right. Both the unholstering process when you make your presentation, right, and the reholstering process, make sure that you're doing it the same every time and safely every time. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Otherwise, get to work, guys.